News this past week that after signing with Manchester United, Tobin Heath and Kristen Press, U.S. Women's National Team players, their jerseys at the club outsold any other jersey for 3 days. Okay, small sample size. You might say that we're being selective here with our criteria and data, but I don't care that Manchester United is struggling. This is Manchester United. This is the biggest club in the world. They have big stars. They have David De Gea. They have Bruno Fernandes. They have Marcus Rashford. They have Paul Pogba. And for 3 days, shirts with Heath and Press outsold them all. That is something you wouldn't even fathom to say a couple years ago. You'd be laughed out of the room. And not to mention Manchester United players from yesteryear, they still sell their shirts there. So what I wanted to say is really acknowledge what we're seeing here is the beginning of the change of everything. For so long, we said, why isn't the women's game picking up? Why can't they gain traction after the World Cup? Well, they're gaining traction, and this thing is going to blow up big, and I will tell you why. The jerseys were just the latest indicator to me that this is happening. The women of the U.S. Women's National Team from 2015-2019, they're not just players, they're household names. They're rock stars at this point. Not just 2 or 3 of them. I'm talking about 10 or 12. Household names here, abroad: Alex Morgan, Julie Ertz, Rose Lavelle, Heath, Press, Lindsay Horan, Crystal Dunn. They are rock stars, and they're building this game. Here in the NWSL, in many cases, during COVID, every sports league that came out struggled with ratings. You know, some were down 30%, 40%, 50%. We don't really have a comparison to NWSL. They have a new deal with CBS, but everyone's happy with the numbers, and there's no reason. No one's watching sports for COVID, yet people tuned in enough because of the star appeal, because of the swagger. And now, these players, including Alex Morgan, who's signed with Tottenham Hotspur, Sam Mewis, who's signed with Manchester City, are taking this to the other side of the Atlantic where they are big. They're sharing their know-how. They are big stars. Alex Morgan, by the way, just had a child, and now she is back out there. Every time a Women's World Cup rolled on, I was told, and I rolled my eyes, I go, the women's game's going to catch on. The women's game's catch on. 1999, that golden generation. It was a much different time. There wasn't an established women's league, so nothing really followed up there. We learnt the names of Michelle Akers and Brandi Chastain and Mia Hamm. 2011, USA lose to Japan in the final, and you thought that was the moment. It was an incredible World Cup. Didn't quite capture it. Didn't quite, and then it got all quiet again. Am I wrong? It got all quiet. 2015, USA women win the World Cup. A year later, they lose to Sweden in the Olympics. That took a lot of steam out. You could argue that with me. That took a little of that shine off. But it's still, they built a platform in 2015 so that 2019, they win the World Cup. They rip through everyone in their sight. They would have won the Olympics. If not, it's pushed out. Now the 2021 Olympics, there's not going to be a bigger star, maybe in the swimming pool. I don't think so. But the #1 box office attraction for the World Cup, the Olympics in 2021 is the U.S. women's soccer and what they can do. Can anybody catch them? I don't think they will. It's all building up to this, to where now we see it. If you want to deny that the women's soccer and the NWSL and the women's FA Super League is going to catch on, you're crazy. It's clear as day because of this generation. They are passing on that knowledge. All indicators is the next generation is going to be just as good as they push for this, and you're going to have to make room on your plate for whatever sports you watch. If you just watch soccer, Premier League, and I'll just talk about this country, Premier League, La Liga, National Team, NWSL. It's that clear as day to me. And it's an amazing achievement, and we owe, as a U.S. soccer fan, this is the best thing going for us, because it is the gold standard, and it is not going away. It had time to go away. It's not going away. Even COVID could not let this euphoria go away, and when things get back to normal, it's going to be even bigger. It's too late to buy stock in the women, the U.S. women, but maybe you can enjoy the ride along with all of us. Subscribe to the Soccer O.G. We'll talk very soon.